and words were definitely my superpower
Mm-hmm.
forever.
Mm-hmm.
But it was definitely intuition that was protecting me and saying, okay, you need to compliment this guy and his girlfriend. You need to
Yeah.
tell him, hey, I'm not as strong as you are. Hey, I certainly wouldn't want to mess with you. I mean, come on, you're a badass.
Mm-hmm.
Look at me, I'm just
Mm-hmm.
me, you know, but that worked a lot.
Welcome back to The Intuitive Voice with Martha Arnett and
Angela Hebner.
yeah, today I would like to introduce you to our very special guest by way of a story. About 20 years ago, it was recommended to me that I call this very accurate psychic on the phone. Now, at the time, she didn't have a website. I didn't have a website. I didn't have any online presence. There was kind of no way to find me, meaning she had no idea who I was. She didn't even know my last name. So I called her, and the first thing she said after she picked up the phone was, "The reason you're calling me is because you can do what I can do."
Yeah.
And then she said, "That is really, really weird. I haven't spoken to anyone who has my skills." She said, and I don't know why she said it, but she said, "In 7 years. I haven't talked to anybody in 7 years that could do what I could do. Except for last week, I spoke with a lawyer from Chicago, and he also has the same abilities that you and I do." And that, my friends, is my brother, Dan Arnett. Welcome, Dan.
Hey.
All right. Thanks for having me on the show. I'm pretty psyched.
Well,
Yeah.
glad to have you. So I'm gonna read your brief bio.
Okay.
And then we'll get into it. So our guest today is Daniel Arnett, founder and partner of Chicago-based Arnett Law Group, and he has been an accomplished litigator for more than 30 years. He is licensed to practice in Illinois, Missouri, and Wisconsin, as well as the U.S. Supreme Court. He has represented clients in over 20 states across the country. Outside the courtroom, Dan serves as a counselor, providing guidance to corporate executives, entrepreneurs, families, and friends in personal and commercial matters. He has also served as an adjunct professor at DePaul University College of Law. So again, welcome, Dan. I'm very excited for today.
Well, thank you, Angela. It's very nice to see you.
You as well. You as well.
Of course, my amazing sister as well. So this is great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We're so excited. So, Dan, we love to start with the question, the same question every time. So when you hear the word intuition, what immediately comes to mind for you? And it could be connected to your professional world, it could be connected to your personal life.
Well, so honestly, until I listened to your show and did some reading and stuff, I wasn't really sure that it was intuition. I always said it was my gut. It was a feeling. It was, I used to always just get this sense about something happening, something going on. I wrote a nudge, and then I found it in your notes later. A nudge, a pause, a change in tact. But it very, very often was just this weird, like, pressure,
Yeah.
kind of having me look a certain direction or feel a certain way. And I've applied that to a lot of different things, which we can talk about. But yeah, but now after listening to your show and stuff, I very much think it's intuition. I mean, I thought it was God for a long time. I thought it was, or universe, the universe or higher power whispering in my ear, like, "Hey man, have you thought about that lately?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, geez." No, that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Dan,
I think that all fits together.
Yes,
Very much so.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We talk about, that part of us, like our left brain wants to understand it in these different words. And then when we really break it down, Angela says it so beautifully. She says, it's just different ways of knowing. Doesn't really matter where it's coming from. It's just different ways of knowing. So I'm curious for you, Dan, about when you said it's like a pressure. So how do you get your intuition? Like, does it come in thoughts? Does it come in through physical sensations? You said gut, which is super familiar to a lot of folks.
Yeah. So like the story, so as you know, so I have a law firm and it's small, I've got about 5 lawyers, and I teach law clerks through the summers and things like that. And I can't tell you how many times I'll be walking along and something will like pop into my head. And it might be on the Smith case. And I'll go, hey, Joe, I don't know why, but the Smith case just popped into my head. I feel like we need to look at it or it's something. And one of you guys said on the show before that you don't know you have intuition until you don't follow it.
Yes.
Something like that, right?
Yes.
In the absence of, but anyway,
Yes.
at least 2 or 3 times, the failure to do what I had suggested resulted in a negative thing and a concern or whatever. And then I swear to you guys, I was sitting just recently with one of my associates and I said, man, I really feel we should do something on the Jones case, which hadn't been talked about in a month and a half. And as we're sitting there, out of the blue,
Yep.
I get an email about the Jones case. And my associate's like, that is crazy. I'm like, dude. And now everyone just kind of knows. Like if I walk in and go, something's going on in Anderson today, and they're like, oh my God, something's going on, you gotta look at Anderson right away,
Yeah.
So I guess it's like it is like a knowing. It's a pop. It's and that's different than the other parts that I will share with you in a minute. But that's kind of the day-to-day driving along. Pop, you know what I ought to do? I really should contact the photographer and get so-and-so set up and blah, blah, blah. Like I have those, for marketing and business development, I have those I think of them as inspiration, which they say to inspire, which is spiritual, which is God. True, but I think of it more like, is it higher self coming in? Is it, I don't know what it is. Now I just think of it as intuition and like, better listen.
Yeah.
That's right. And what I love that you've trained your whole firm to listen too. Like they don't say, Dan, are you sure? Like they're like, nope, we got this.
Yeah.
Well, it's one of the
that.
questions, I think it was number 15, but it's basically, it was something like, how do I incorporate it into my profession with others?
Yeah.
And like my attorneys who are kind of like, I'm a little woo-woo, I'm a little wacky, like, why are we talking about all this? And what I do is I promote curiosity. And then I say, okay, if you're super curious, listen to what it's telling you, but not just like curious as to the facts. Like, what's your gut telling you? And then sometimes it's how did you feel? And no one in the law thinks of like saying, how did you feel?
Right.
But if you say, how did you feel in the moment of something major, oftentimes they will then describe things that led them to feel. Well, it reminded me of when my mother passed. It reminded me, I thought I was going to die for a second there. I thought, or it reminded me when my wife cheated on me with my best friend. I mean, whatever it is, you get that because you listen and you get curious. And that's kind of how I incorporate intuition into the day-to-day world without everyone thinking I'm a whack job.
Yeah.
Well, our goal is to make this not wacky anymore.
That's right.
One of the things,
That's right.
That's right. We like to remind folks, it's a sixth sense. We are all born with it, right? When we talk a little bit about intuition, and then there's the psychic channel, and Dan, you said to me, I need to be on your podcast because I can feel the energy of the judge before I even open the courtroom door.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Oh, that's funny. Yeah. So, so that, okay. So when you prepare for oral arguments, a lot of what you do in litigation is, you write out your outline, you've got your arguments and you prepare. And, this has come with time, but the intuition part is when to stop talking. Primarily. It's rarely when to talk because that's what we're trained to do. Talk, speak, argue, blah, 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 blah. But when your gut says, she's got it, she gets it, or your gut says, speak up right now. There's a lot of times like, speak up right now. Like, Your Honor, I've got a moment. Wait, there's just like, and I don't even know why. And I'll get done often and be like, I have no idea what I said or how it went, but I do know it was pretty good.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's how we describe our sessions with clients a lot of the time.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And Marth, to go back to the energetic, I mean, I walk in, I can tell if a room is negative and hostile
Mm-hmm.
for
Mm-hmm.
sure.
Yep.
Now, that's more like self-preservation. I
Mm-hmm.
usually minimize how I speak. I minimize to whom I speak,
Mm.
Stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
One of my big story, I really hope, I'm going to tell this story. This part was big, but
Okay.
the moment, Marth, I had that huge trial in St. Louis, and they asked for 100 million. It was going to destroy the small business, family business that had been around 100 years. And it was just 3 weeks of hell. It was devastating. And they, in the sense of what could happen to this family. And I literally wrote the closing argument from like 9 p.m. to 2 a.m. And I get up and I glance through the stuff and I stand up, and this guy does an amazing job, and he's accusing, and it's da-da-da-da-da. And I get up, and that was 100% intuition. I know I had I had a PowerPoint, but all I know is I spoke from the heart. I knew who to look at. I knew what to emphasize. I actually had to poke fun at myself, poke fun at opposing counsel, like do stuff off the charts. And honestly, I believe that was, I have become rather faith based of late. Once I got through that, but I will say it was intuition. It was
Mm-hmm.
source. It was
Mm-hmm.
just hell. And I finished, and God, this chokes me up. I walked over. They stood up, and the client was a very small woman who I've known for 17 years, and I just love them and their family. And she said, "Great job," and I start crying.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
Of course.
in the
Yep.
jury, like there's a lot of
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
around, and this
Yeah.
is like
Yeah.
a very vulnerable moment. And I don't
Yep.
start crying until the verdict comes in. But I mean, I get all choked up, and I'm like,
Yep.
okay. And we're holding hands, and then one of the other questions you asked was something like, how do you use that with your clients?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like, when do you step back?
Mm.
When do you hug?
Beautiful.
When
Yep.
do you sit close without speaking?
Yep.
That,
Yep.
and I use my intuition for that all the time.
Mm-hmm.
We were holding hands. This is a woman that wouldn't touch or hug or nothing, and we're holding hands before the verdict's read, and so I use it as I was preparing for this. I realized that the concept of intuition, as you guys have described it, is such a huge part of my day. I mean, I walk down the hall in my office, and I'll get this tingling thing about like I've got to say hi, okay, and I'll stop, pause, and talk to someone. And again, you don't know what I just prevented or what I helped with, or
Yes. Yes.
what, but yeah. So anyway,
All
I'm
right.
dying to tell that story about that
Oh, I love
That's a
argument.
great
Oh my
story.
God. Yeah, that was a big deal.
Well,
So,
I have to ask this because I've got two siblings together, right? So
Yeah.
oh yeah,
that
yeah.
are very intuitive. And so I'm
Mhm.
wondering, how was that talked about in your growing up, or was it? Because it's pretty cool that both of you are so connected to this. How did it start growing up? Was that talked about in your family, not talked about,
So I
encouraged?
saw that question, and I'm
Mhm.
like, I wonder what
I want to hear how
Martha would
you
say.
answer it, because I have a couple things that I say that I think led to mine. How about you, Dan? And then I'll answer.
Well, that's one of those fears of saying the wrong, because I don't know if you've mentioned this about Mirth, but I don't think it was present in our family. I felt maybe it's the sibling order, birth order is the oldest.
Mm-hmm.
The rules were the rules. You did what you're supposed to do. Da 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 da. How did it help me? My dad, our father, was had some anger management issues. I think we can fairly say that in public record.
Absolutely. Yeah. 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 I don't think he's listening to this, actually.
Yes, oh
Feel
boy.
free to
Yes,
speak.
sorry, Dad.
Yeah.
Martha and I have talked about empathy a lot, and it absolutely helped me survive. I intuitively knew what tool he needed. I brought two of each. I intuitively knew when to back away, when to not speak. We didn't walk around saying, "Hey, how's your intuition today?"
Right.
No. No.
No. I mean, Martha and I don't think we even had these sort of woo, how's your inner sense and inner knowing going until, we were both in Chicago. I mean, it could have been way down the road, but I absolutely know. And then we changed schools a lot. So how do you know who's going to be the bully? How
Oh,
do you
yeah.
know who's going to be nice to you? I mean, I mean, we did get pretty good at reading the room and stuff. And then
Yes.
I don't know, Martha, if you remember, we used to call each other the Three Amigos when we were younger, and we were at parties because we have another sister, and we always knew how to stay together in those what seemed like scary moments socially. And that was using intuition without really even
For sure.
knowing about it. You know what I mean?
For
So
sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. I would answer that. Nobody said intuition, but you remember, Dan, Mom would say when you got hurt, she'd be like, close your eyes, just breathe, go inside, relax. Do you remember that? You'd like bang your shin or your knee or whatever. It was like a minor thing, or like you'd feel like you really hurt yourself, and she'd be like, close your eyes, relax, go inside. And for me, I was like, oh, I think that was one of the guides that led me to like listen to my body, to be honest. And then I also think what supported us a little bit in this, Dan, was, at least I always talk about how did I get to be so intuitive early on, was we spent a lot of time roaming the woods, working in the farm, working the field without a lot of input, right? There were no headphones.
right.
There was barely music, maybe in the barn music, right? Like a lot of it, we were just alone. And then when I would just I just noticed what was going on inside of me. I think my brother, Dan for sure, Amy, our middle sister, and me being the youngest, we're very highly sensitive people. We're all HSPs. Amy's definitely HSP with sound and noise and whatever. Empaths, I think Dan and I are highly empathic. I'm not sure if Amy would quantify herself as that or not. But so I don't know if that wiring, because now we know it's a physiological wiring, right, runs in families, but it's interesting. So I kind of attribute those two things. Mom's kind of guiding us to just relax, go inside. And then that space that we were given, even if we were working all the time, baling hay and whatever, you were just alone with your thoughts because there was no headphones.
Oh my gosh.
You know what I mean? And so we got to know our bodies really well.
Yeah.
Our
absolutely.
emotional bodies. Yeah, that's how I kind of think about that answer. Yeah.
Well, and I think that when the environment is not steady, right? And you have to, whether it's a new school, new kids, angry parent, whatever, you get good at following it. I mean, as you talked about, we all have it, that intuitive piece, but when there's such immediate consequence, right, to talking to the wrong person or saying the wrong thing or bringing the wrong tool, I think we learn to trust it much faster. Again, to your point, even if we're not calling it that. So that makes a lot of sense.
I always wondered why I could talk myself out of fights and conflicts and things. And Martha and I spoke about this recently. Like I've never been small or anything, but I just never liked fighting, and I never liked conflict. And even with the toughest bullies, whatever, I just knew what to say. I just knew intuitively what would make them feel better, even if it was a lie or whatever. And it was a manipulation of the situation. And words were definitely my superpower forever. But it was definitely intuition that was protecting me and saying, okay, you need to compliment this guy and his girlfriend. You need to tell him, hey, I'm not as strong as you are. Hey, I certainly wouldn't want to mess with you. I mean, come on, you're a badass. Look at me, I'm just me. But that worked a lot. Actually.
And think about how your intuition led you into law. Like that, you went directly into law from undergrad. I mean, you traveled for a year, but you went right into law, right? And I do think the way that we were raised, Amy, our middle sister, went and got a PhD in the sciences. That was very much her brain and her path. Dan went right away and got law, and that everything you described about how your brain works, it was a perfect fit for you. I think you're one of the only lawyers that I know that doesn't hate the law. Right? You like it. Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Well, speaking.
Though I will say this, Angela, I want you to know this part. Like my legacy, my mission, I suppose, is to create an environment where lawyers are not jerk.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah. Right. Cheer you on.
Yeah. Well, and I was going to ask you about that. Like, you talked about training clerks and things in the summer, or training people in the summer. Do you use intuition or part of that to teach them to listen inside? Maybe you don't call it that, but are you incorporating that? Or do you think there's a place
I
for that?
I think I think I've created the foundation or the base. The culture in this law firm is upside down and backwards compared to any other
Mm.
law firm that I've ever heard of. In fact, when I'm doing my exit interviews with my law clerks, I'm like, I literally said, our profession is a good profession. We help a lot of people. And I said, you're going to run into bad people, bullies, mean, and angry. They said, but that's not all of us. You've been here, you've seen good people working. And I try to create a culture which would foster this idea that you can be strong and powerful without being a jerk. No profanity, not being reactive, but pausing, being strong and forceful, but yet, within your own kind of container and this and that. And I'm hoping, I really hope that, and I now have been doing it so long that there are law clerks who are professors now, which I think is sort of funny.
That's
Yeah,
fun.
I
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I go, oh my God, I'm old.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, yeah, so I spend one-on-one time with everyone, and I say hi to everyone every day. It's a small firm. I can do that easily. My intuition will come in where I'm like, I haven't spoken to Anna in a few days. Or, you know what? I think Bella needs some attention. Or I wonder what Charlie would really like right now. And I just, but now it's like instant.
Got it.
Yeah.
I'm walking from the bathroom. I'm like, yeah, to talk to Charlie. It's like, better go talk to Charlie.
Hey,
You
Dan,
know what I mean?
do you, right, following that thread, and I'm thinking about how clear you were in that courtroom and how clear your intuition comes in for you. Are there times that your intuition isn't as clear, and what do you think is getting in the way? That's part A. And then B would be, and how do you clear it out? When your intuitive channel is mucked up.
So that sounds very similar to intuition versus logic, or intuition versus, maybe a standard scenario conflict. And I really put some thought into that one. Honestly, that happens quite a bit.
Sure.
And I'll say, like, what are we missing? I had to So what do? I ask for options. There's always more than 2, 3, 5, 7 options. What are our options? Then I get curious. What about this? What about, and God, man, my gut is just saying that there's got to be something. Why don't you look at this? Why don't you look at that? And then sometimes I just have to say, it's not coming to me yet.
Yep.
And and that really gets into the other parts of this whole intuition thing, which is surrendering, accepting. Faith is a big thing for me. So at that point, I have to sit back and go, okay, the universe is working on this. I feel it. I feel like it's so close.
Oh,
Right there,
yes.
And you just got to go, I'm going to wait. I just got to wait. And then I usually give instructions about a few things, and then we wait. Yeah.
I think the waiting is key, right? Knowing that if the answer isn't clear, that means it's not time to make the decision. And that's hard for a lot of people to go with.
That is very, very difficult. And one of the other questions was, how has the intuition worked with clients? And there's been many a time where I'm hitting my head on the wall, hitting my head like, this is best, this is best, this is best. And then my own intuition kicks in and I go, it's their story.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah. Sorry, there's nothing more I can do. And then I usually it brings some peace, actually. And then I could take a breath and go, well, I certainly tried,
Yeah.
So,
How about personally, Dan, when your intuitive channel gets mucked up, what do you do?
journaling is my big go-to. Even more so than meditation, but I journal like crazy. I think I journal for an hour pretty much every day. And people are like, what are you doing? I'm like, well, I could be making a laundry list, or I could be, or a shopping list or something, or I'm venting. But a lot of times it'll be like, I want to do this. And then I'll ask why like 5 times, and then I'll really get it to it. And it's like, you guys have done, you guys are the professionals, but why why am I feeling this way? Why am I really feeling this
Mhm.
way? And that's when my intuition gets messed up. It's when my fears are just not like, it doesn't feel like fear. It feels like anger. And then it feels like frustration. And then it feels
Mm.
like, it's like, I can't, everything's myopic and I can't get a sense of what the heck's going on. And I'm so
Yeah.
frustrated. And sometimes that works. And if they, then I also add, Martha knows this. I have a crazy morning routine with my, I work out and I sauna and I this and that and everything. So I will say that when I stick to my morning routine, my intuitive channels do
Mm.
seem to function better. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's great.
That is great.
Yeah.
Do you find that, Ange, with your
Which-
morning routine?
If I keep the routine, absolutely.
I know we've talked about
Absolutely.
movement. Movement for you
Yeah.
and I definitely
yeah.
clears our channel, right? Like
Yeah.
walking and all the things. Dan, but what I love about journaling, what you said is
Mhm.
you may start out with anger. And then when you're journaling, you realize, oh my God, maybe it's sadness. Right.
Mhm.
And then you're like, oh, now I can identify the sadness. And like, oh
Mhm.
shit, this is old sadness. This isn't even current time. This has actually got nothing to do with the fact that my neighbor screamed at me or whatever, right? And journaling is such a powerful way to like get to those layers down. It's such a great tool. Yeah, thanks for sharing that.
Yeah.
That's
And
great.
then it ends with gratitude. 99% of
Yeah.
the time, it'll be some like, well, at least I'm not blank. And well, at least I've got
Yeah.
that. And oh, gee, maybe I should. Well, today, it's the whole like right now,
Mhm.
Yeah.
this moment, this exact moment.
Yeah.
And every journal I say, thank you, God, for this underlined beautiful day. Like this
Yes.
day, right now.
Yes.
And that usually kind of gets me out of my funk, you know?
Excellent.
You know, I love that. I have this poem that I just have in my brain because I used to have it above my desk when I worked at the shelter in Chicago with the kids. But it said, I thank you, God, for this most amazing day, for the leaping greenly spirits of trees and a blue true dream of sky, and for everything which is natural, which is infinite, which is yes. Isn't that beautiful?
I
Wow.
love that.
As an E. Cummings poem, and that's just like the first stanza. But anyway, when you say that, I'm
Fact
like,
that you
beautiful.
just whipped that off. Is that
Oh,
like, are you
it's
reading
my
it right
mantra. It's a little bit of my mantra. I say it all the time. Thank you, God, for this most amazing day. Yeah. So I have a
That's
similar thing.
impressive.
Yeah. Yeah.
It
I
is.
love
Well,
that.
I mean, it is to your point. Anything that can bring you back to present time, because you can't.
Yes.
You've got to be in your body, in your spirit to hear it. So I
That's
love those
right.
practices. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I like the movement. You guys are, yeah,
Yes.
I have to move. And I've had Akashic readers, I've had psychic people, everything. I have to, like, movement clears my chakras and my channels and all that stuff. And you just feel like sluggish after a few days. And it's not
Yeah.
like I'm and I'm not talking crazy
Yeah.
exercise, just literally getting the blood going and getting going, you know?
Mhm.
Yep.
So no, I agree with what you guys were talking about earlier.
Yep.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, so what else do you want to share with us, Dan, about your experience of intuition? I know you put a lot of thought into this. Anything we haven't asked you that would be important?
I know you guys are, yeah, you hit them all a lot.
Good.
So I'm looking, stories get in the way, go with your gut. Oh, I will say that intuition has been very, very good for negotiating.
Oh, I bet.
Yes, and settlements. And so a big part of what we do, I mean, yes, there's trials and arguments and the judges and all this, but most of the time, I use it in two areas of the law, and this might be interesting. Anyone listening, one is depositions. That's when the person's under oath and I'm asking questions. And that's the whole thing where you ask them how they feel. But a lot of times intuitively I'll watch, and I used to think it was just that I was really good at reading their body language because that's a big part of it. But I realize it's way more than body language. It's definitely an intuition. Like there was this, like, wait a minute, what's that about? And that would help. And the other one is negotiating, when you realize that sometimes, and this is the standard example, but sometimes someone needs an apology. Someone needs acknowledgement more than they need something. And the thing that almost everyone wants is closure. And so usually it's, how do you bring closure? How do you, and then in a lot of it, and I to be careful who's listening, but a lot of it is that I also have to be intuitive with my own clients to say, I know this is upsetting and you don't want to do these things. But think about the bandwidth of Frieza. Think about the space within you when this is resolved. And there's the hand holding and there's comforting. And a lot of that is very much intuition, because a lot of times I might be saying, oh my God, this is so not important. But then, but it is.
But it is.
Yeah,
That's right.
Yeah.
I love that.
So,
Dan, how about on the
Fabulous.
personal front? You have 4 children.
yeah.
How do you use your intuition as a
Oh
parent?
my God. Yes. Wow.
This was not on the list of questions.
This was not on the list.
We're winging this one.
I know. What are you doing to me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Conflict avoidance. Conflict
Yeah.
motivation.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I've used it recently. Suddenly it'll be like, I need to fly to New York. I gotta go see my eldest. And honestly, that doesn't make sense to my wife at times, and she'll be like, "Do you have to go or whatever?" I'm like, I'm not feeling it yet. I'll let you know.
Yes.
It's super weird. It's super
It
weird.
is
Like,
super weird.
right?
It is. Yes.
Totally. Like, oh, I gotta go to California. They had another one in California. Like, oh, gotta go.
Yep.
So yeah, I've kind of mostly conflict avoid. And then and lately it's like, when do you bring up that thing that you just have to bring up?
Right.
Like, if you would shut
That's a
off the
good one.
lights at night, that would be nice. But you got to do it when they're not, freaking out, and kind of use your,
Yeah.
But boy, intuition's a big deal with raising kids. Holy cow! Good question there,
Yeah.
Miss Arnett. Great
Yes.
question.
That's a good
Excellent.
one. Yeah.
Well, Dan, I'm wondering if there's one intuitive nudge that you're currently sort of leaning toward, even if you don't know where it's going yet, and if you'd be willing to share that with us.
Yes, I was waiting for that. So honestly, it's every day I try to figure out how to be a better leader at the firm. This place it flourishes, functions, dies, successful, unsuccessful, because of me. I'm the sole owner. I'm responsible for everybody and everything. And I am learning to trust those around me. I am using my intuition to know when to correct a typo or overlook it, to learn when to educate in a positive way, because this has to be a safe place. It has to be a safe place. I have to learn to let go of control. I have a new partner, Joe, who you saw was helped at the beginning. Joe Holmes, he's a great, great, great man. And he's learning, and I have to learn. I have to let him be himself. And as I'm sure you both would agree, there is no failure. He can't fail. No one can fail. They can try and maybe do better and or try again and or learn. So he's learning to trust me, and that I will. I had a moment, he'll never believe I'm talking about this, but he became partner within a week. I walked in and go, here are my expectations. And he went, what? And that's the short version. And I'm like, obvious, this is what you're going to do. Come on, you're a partner.
Yeah.
Da-da-da-da-da-da. Huge conflict. You want to talk about energy? I'm walking around the office and suddenly it's not feeling so good. And I can't figure out why.
Yeah.
And then I figured it out. And the long story short is I forced myself. It was so uncomfortable to say, because I backed myself. I drew the line in the sand that you're not supposed to do. Here's what you're going to do.
Oh.
So I called him in and I said, I made a mistake and I'm sorry. And I'm 20 years his senior. This is a huge gap. And I'm like, I just didn't think it through. And my gut, my intuition was just screaming at me, you've got to talk to this man. And I waited a day or till the setting was perfectly right, or what I thought was right. And I said, I hope that you know that I was doing my best in that moment. And I want you to feel safe to know that I will recognize, I'm okay with realizing I screwed up. And I hope you feel safe enough to come see me and talk to me if you think I have. Because I think that's going to make him a better leader, and I think it'll make the firm better, and it's going to make me better.
Mhm.
And so that was a big, huge intuition moment, and that was less than a month ago. So that's how I use it.
Love
every
it.
I
day.
love it when you say you walk around the office and something feels off, right?
Wow.
Like but what is so cool, Dan, is you just say that as if everybody feels that way, right? Like, so that's when you, right? Like, I would say the same thing, but now that we've sort of like talked to a lot of people, we realize most people aren't doing that. So I think that's what this podcast, right? And we're trying to get that out there. And like you said, Dan, you would think you called it other things. It doesn't really matter what we call intuition. But once you start thinking about it and bringing it to your forefront, you realize how much you actually are connected, right?
Right.
You run your whole life through it,
Yeah.
you know? And it's so inspiring. And I hope our listeners are really inspired, from law to parenting to, you know, to the things we do in the morning, right? To whatever, listening to our issue, and things shift and change as we shift and change. So, those have been great stories. Thank you for sharing that. We haven't spoken to anybody in the field of law yet. So
No,
this was
okay.
This was
All right.
great. Yeah. Thanks so much, Dan. It was so fun having you on.
Yeah, thank you both. Angela, I felt like I did all the talking. So
That's the point. You're the guest. We're glad
Okay.
you're here. Glad you're here.
All
I
right.
appreciated your stories, and
it
so
was
great
very
to meet
nice
you.
to meet you and see you, and Martha. Thanks so much for both of you for having me on. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
right.
It's been fun. All
It's
right.
been great.
Take care, and we will see you next week on The Intuitive Voice. Bye.
Hey, friends, you thought we were gone, but we're back. I'm glad you stayed.
If you like what you heard, click those 5 stars. And if you really like what you heard, please write us a review.
And share with your friends.